The fact that we somehow are 2-2, I predicted that we would be 2-2 before the season started. I thought we could go 3-1, best case scenario. The only game I had for sure that we were losing was the Lions game, and we did lose that. But when you really look back at it, should have won against the Vikings, and then we won and handled business against the Raiders. Dallas was going to be a tricky game, but we beat the brakes off of Dallas too. So it's like we really should be 3-1, right? So, but the fact that we are 2-2, that's what I predicted us to be. How we got there, based on how we looked the first two games, is it feels like a miracle, but it also is just like, yeah, we were supposed to be that anyway. So I said the games we were going to win were the Vikings game and the Raiders, and then maybe to the Cowboys game. We ended up winning the Cowboys and the Raiders. The only game we got right that I did predict was the Raiders. But in hindsight, we should have won, obviously, the game against Minnesota. Shout out to my Minnesota fans. So we're at 2-2 going into the bye week. That's a great place to be. Like, our next game after the bye week is against the Washington Wizards, against the Washington Commanders. The good thing about that game is the Commanders aren't quite where they need to be. I picked us to win that game because it's like a revenge game. I think it's going to be a huge game for the Bears. I think the mentality the Bears are coming into this season with is like no nonsense, no excuses, put up or shut up, go out there, play the best football you could play. I'm loving that mentality. I'm loving how they're cleaning up the mistakes. I'm loving how they're just finding ways to win games. I think this is an opportunity to capitalize coming out of the bye week with a healthier defense, offense, getting more rhythm. Obviously, a break in between could throw off your rhythm, but it also could help us clean up some different things and to open up and expand the playbook even more going into that game. It gives us an extra week to study the Commanders, which is great for preparation. So we get 2 weeks to prepare for a team versus just one, and we can hone in on all the different things that we need to. So we have an advantage. A good, smart coaching staff has an advantage in that type of situation. The reason I want to have this talk about will we make the playoffs is because I am starting to see evidence that the Bears could make the playoffs. I'm starting to see evidence that we can be an above 500 team. And if you're an above 500 team, that is a ticket to making the playoffs. It started out the gate looking kind of scary for us. Things weren't quite looking right well. Here's a funny thing. Every year, the first 4 games are always the most shakiest, and you shouldn't panic in the first 4 games. You should wait and see week to week how the team trends. Do they continue to get worse and worse? And for a moment after that Detroit game, it looked like we were going to, get worse before we get better. So it looked like it was going to be a bad trajectory. The Bears, fortunately, after that Detroit Lions game, were able to trend upward, and they won against the Cowboys, took advantage of a really bad defense. But now we come to find out it wasn't just that they took advantage of a bad defense, but our defense was able to make very opportune turnovers and plays. Las Vegas games, even more so. I mean, like, goodness, 4 turnovers in a football game. The fact that that game was even that close is a testament to 2 things. One, to how good Max Crosby is and how disruptive he was to start the game in those early. Like, that pass rush and plays that he was making covered up the multitude of sin for real. So shout out to Max Crosby for going crazy in the beginning of that game, because he single-handedly gave them, helped to erase some of those mistakes or to minimize how detrimental they were. Like, to turn 2 of those interceptions that Geno threw, or I'm sorry, was it the interception and the fumble from Genty into 3 points and an interception, to me is great. That's a super good situation to be in, right? But we got through that game, and our defense showed me a lot with very little. So 3 out of the 4 games this season, the Bears defense has showed me a lot of heart. So I'm of the mindset that now that they're getting healthy, a defense that plays with heart and talent, you gotta hope to see more out of them. Now, our secondary, we don't have our best corner. Jalen Johnson's out for the foreseeable future, probably the whole season. But I think we're good enough on defense to be respectable now. Back to kind of what I was saying earlier in the season, in the first 4 games, I just wanted us to be a bend but don't break as we got healthy. Now we need to for sure bend even less and don't break at all. We need to be a don't break defense. We don't give up big plays. We don't give up big chunk touchdowns. We don't put our offense in a dicey situation as our offense is continuing to develop. That's kind of where I'm at with things. I'm kind of where we need to make sure that we're not. It's not just that we're not bend and not break defense. We need to also be just don't bend and don't break. And now here's the crazy part about the schedule, and this is why what I was getting to. The first 4 weeks, a lot of mayhem happens. A lot has changed since we last had the conversation about what the Bears' record is going to be. So much has changed that now Baltimore and Cincinnati don't have their quarterbacks. There is a chance that the Ravens have Lamar back by the time we play them. There's a chance that it happens, but there's also a chance that he's not back or back to 100%. So we're getting a diminished version of him. There is a realistic scenario where we rattle off 5 straight wins. Like, in worst case scenario, we don't win the game against Washington, but we win the game against the Saints, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and the Giants. 4 straight. So 4 straight. And instead we add 4 games to our record and 1 loss in that time period. And that'll get our record to, my math's not the greatest, but if I count it right, 6 wins, 3 losses, 6-3. If you told me we would be 6-3 coming into this season, I'd be like, I don't know about that. I don't know. So by week 10, we could be 6-3. So yeah, so those are just the first 10 games, right? That Minnesota game, I think we can get revenge against Minnesota. That defense is fierce. But I think week 11, we could win that game. I don't think we get swept by Minnesota, especially how we ended up losing that game. So then we got the game against the Eagles. The Eagles game might be the hardest game of the year. I thought Baltimore was going to be a really difficult game, but they're not healthy. Definitely not healthy on defense. That Eagles game is going to be crazy. The Eagles and the Packers game is going to be a problem. And don't count out that Browns game. That defense is crazy. Green Bay struggled and almost lost, ended up tying with the Dallas Cowboys, the same Dallas Cowboys that we beat by a nice margin. We held them to 14 points, and they have a really good offense. Held them to 14 points and scored like 31 on them. Mind you, this same Cowboys then goes to Green Bay, who was supposed to be this really great defense after they picked up Micah Parsons. They gave up 40 points to the Cowboys after we held them to 14 with a banged up defense. And I'm not saying that I know for sure that we win a game against Green Bay, but you're saying I shouldn't believe that the Bears could beat Green Bay? My record is a little better than I thought it would be coming into this, but I did think that we were going to be like somewhere between 8-9 or 9-8. Now I'm like 9-8 to 10-7. I'm resting there. I think 9-8 at worst, and at best 10-7. Obviously, injuries, knock on wood for injuries, but that's what I'm going with. Let me know down below if you think that's reasonable.